Rise. Welcome to a Lunch with Gina. It's been a minute since we've done Lunch with Gina. If you don't know me, my name is Gina Parker Collins. I am the founder of Resources in Independent School Education, and I had a graduate this year, y'all. So 2019 has been extremely exciting, and it's been rewarding because, you know, this is, I'm able to grab that brass ring, right? College acceptance in, and we're good and good to go. So I wanted to come back to Lunch with Gina to have a conversation with you about boarding schools. And today we have with us a phenomenal administrator in boarding schools. Her name is Tammara Gary. Hi, Tammara.
Hi, Gina.
And she is the assistant admissions director at Westover School in Connecticut. And we're going to be kind of chilling out this summer. Well, we're not kind of, we are going to be chilling out summer in the Vineyard. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that, but start off with why Tammara chose a school like a boarding school to come and be an administrator. And so tell us a little bit about your journey to Westover.
Yeah. So, hello, I'm Tammara. And as Gina said, I work at Westover School in admissions. And Westover School is an all-girls boarding school, so grades 9 through 12. And it's in Middlebury, Connecticut, about 30 minutes west of New Haven. And the school itself is new to me, but boarding school is not. I've grown up on three different boarding school campuses because my parents were teachers at boarding schools, or my dad worked in admissions. So I was already well aware of the impact of a boarding school education from a very young age. And what I mean by that is there's such a rich culture in a boarding school because students are coming from all over the world. Thailand, Vietnam, Mexico, Spain, Rwanda, South Africa, and my parents' advisees were my babysitters. So I had babysitters from those countries. And that's an experience that not many people can share. So I ended up going to a boarding school to engage with students from all over the world in rich conversations on history, on U.S. history, on social events in the country. The conversation every day, the conversation didn't end in the classroom. And so that was an experience I missed after graduating from boarding school and then from college too. I wanted to be back in that rich environment. So I'm now working at a boarding school in admissions so I can meet the students that we bring into the school. I can visit the countries they're coming from. And I also wanted to be advisors to these students. I wanted to be part of their growth, both in the classroom and outside the classroom. So in a way, Westover found me. I was looking for a boarding school late in the year, and they had a position open for specifically what I wanted to do. In addition to working in admissions, I also coach squash. And I love it. It's amazing how big the sport is outside the country. So I get to travel to watch athletes play in Mexico and Egypt and recruit them. So that's been a wonderful opportunity for myself, but to also see those students grow in this environment where they never thought they would be. And it was through this amazing sport that they love. It's really fulfilling and inspiring too. So that's a little bit about, I guess, me, how I got into the boarding school world. It's kind of born into it, and I'm very thankful for it.
So let me ask you, what do you think, and I know I sent you a few questions, but I'm going to go off of that for a second. So this really popped into my mind. What do you think is the biggest misconception about boarding schools that families of color have culturally just kind of, shied away from? Like, what is it? What do you think it is?
Well, for one, there was always this conception in the past that it was a correctional school, and way in history it was, but it's not the case now.
Bad kids, right?
Yes. So it's not a correctional school. It's a very rigorous academic program and athletic program in many of these schools too. So that's one misconception I always want to debunk. And then another, for families of color specifically, there's a community here for your students, for your girls, for your boys, your sons. There are affinity groups. There are, and also it's more than just that too, because it's an international community. So the conversations aren't just about black and white, but it's also about how to be Asian American in this school, or Asian. And then, so you're sharing you're having deeper conversations than you would in a day school when it's just really conversation about black and white and how to find your space in those white spaces in your school. Mm-hmm. And it's also a social economic conversation, but we also, through the boarding school experience, the students become self-advocates for what they're going through at an early age. And they have the support system to become confident in their self-advocacy. And the opportunity is the same. The resources are the same. There are families who think that, if they're on financial aid, their child isn't going to have the same opportunities at the school. But no, there is opportunity for that student to go on the same trips as other students, whether it's an exchange program. There's financial aid throughout the program to do that same trip that a student who's paying full can also do without question, if that makes sense. So it's going to be an equal opportunity experience at that boarding school, no matter how much you're paying for your tuition.
That's what I've often heard about boarding schools. There becomes this sense of equity because we all, share the same type of housing, right? Mm-hmm. We all get to school the same way. Mm-hmm. So it brings a level of equity that a day school can somehow be challenged with. And then after school, after academics are over, I know for my kids living in Westchester and most of their friends being in New York City, after school it became an issue. I'm not with my friends. They're able to continue to develop relationships beyond the classroom, and I just get started in the morning and then it ends in the afternoon. And that's the beauty of a boarding school, I believe, that you're able to continue to develop relationships in a very equitable space.
Mm-hmm. I would totally agree with that. And your day is long, because you are together, and there's usually study hall in the evening. But as you said, yes, you are together, and if you're boarding and not a day student, you're living with your friends. So that's why there's a lot of growth that happens outside the classroom as well as in the classroom, because you're constantly around the people who are educating you and your friends. Yeah. So there's a lot of learning happening.
Yeah. Well, I have a niece that's in boarding school. She absolutely loves it. And I know from our community here at RISE, the conversations and the commitment to boarding schools is rising, right? Mm-hmm. So no longer, we can't do that. It's more like I'm really curious about it, and the opportunities look great, and I'm getting to meet students who've done the boarding experience, and I'm pretty impressed. So let's go for it. And a lot of children, there are those children too or young adults who are very independent, right? And thrive in a boarding school environment, really thrive. But there's an opportunity this summer for families to experience what a boarding school could feel like. Programming at Westover, and I know we've promoted it on social media. I'm going to do it again, and a lot of families have responded to it, like, I'm interested in learning more about this program. So tell us about summer at Westover.
So we have our summer program jumpstarting again. We've had it in the past, but we had construction going on because we're giving the whole school a facelift. It's the old school, been around for a while.
I've been there, beautiful school.
We're really excited to bring the summer program back. And so it's a 4-week program. The first 3, and students can sign up for individual weeks. They can sign up for both 2 weeks or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however many they want. And the way it works is they can choose between engineering classes. They choose 2 classes. They take those 2 classes each day, and then afternoon there are activities. So in the morning they can do engineering, performing arts, ELL, and English learning, English learning for learners.
English language.
I can't tell anymore. It's ELL, but I can't remember what ELL stands for. Oh man. And then there are in the engineering program, there's computer science, there's math, so it's pretty encompassing of the math subjects as well. And then activities, sports. I believe squash is being offered. I always got to shout out my squash. That's my sport. Soccer, volleyball, all depends on how many we have for numbers, but there's many activities. The entire school is available for the students. It's a smaller summer school program, so students the students won't be obscure in any way. We have about 20 students per week. So it's very intimate. They'll get to know each other. They'll get to know their teachers really well. So that's a little bit about the program. I believe it starts early July. I don't know the date off the top.
I don't have the link to the application, which is still open, correct?
It is still open. Yes, it is.
Great, because I know that there's some families who are scrambling right about now, like, what am I going to do? So if you have a girl, 6th through 9th grade, correct?
Yes, rising 6th to rising 9th grade.
Perfect. You'll have the opportunity to apply for this summer program to be a beautiful Westover school and get a feel for what it's like to be a boarding school experience. I think you'll be surprised.
I highly recommend, if anyone's on the fence about boarding, this is such a good opportunity to see if it would be of interest to your child, because they are essentially boarding for a week. And what's great about Westover is that the counselors are Westover students, the teachers are Westover teachers, so it's kind of like a mini Westover program, and all those faces are the same faces that child would see if they enroll full time. So it gives them comfort too. We have students who are actually coming in the fall who are also doing the summer program for that reason, so they can get used to the routine of the day. They'll get to see where all the classes are, so that when they do start, they're not overwhelmed by not knowing where everything is. And that can apply to any boarding school too. Many boarding schools have a summer program. I highly recommend taking advantage of that before applying to a boarding school or enrolling in one.
Yeah. So we have an event together in Martha's Vineyard, August 12th. We are building boarding school networks on the Vineyard, and proud to have and excited to have with us the Westover School. Tammara will be there. We also have the Faith School, and we have the Cambridge School of Weston thus far, and a couple other schools that are interested in sharing with families, in particular families of color on the Vineyard, the experiences of students. So we'll have some students there, we'll have some parents there, we'll also have our administrators to really sit down and have a real conversation about the benefits of boarding school, the challenges and the wins, and opportunities for you to experience this very unique independent private school education. So we thank you for participating with us. We're really excited. We're going to talk more about the Raisin Center.
I love that.
So that's a big part of, that's the hub of your diversity work there at the Westover School. So we're going to get a chance to talk more about that then, and we'll also interview, we have a new director of the Raisin Center, correct?
Yes, we have a director of diversity, Mary Taylor. So our Raisin Center encompasses our diversity and inclusion work on campus with both faculty and students, because we all need that training. And we are being proactive about it. So we have white faculty groups that are learning about white fragility, and they are reading books on a monthly basis and meeting together. And then we also have, of course, our faculty of color meetings. And then we also get together. So that's something I've been really happy about seeing, because in the past, it's been mostly diversity and inclusion work for the students, and how we provide them the tools to discuss what it is they're experiencing. And we still have that. But the faculty, I think, really need it, because the students are learning from the teachers. The teachers are making the impact in the classroom. And if they don't have the vocabulary to teach about race, and to engage in these conversations with students, then we're not doing our job as educators. So that's something that we do in the Raisin Center, through our Raisin Center. And then we also have initiatives. Our exchange program is through our Raisin Center. If students want to go on community service trips to Rwanda, we have a community service trip to Kentucky where they actually create a summer program. That's through the Raisin Center. And then language exchange to Jordan, to Japan, to Australia, which isn't a language exchange, but that's a popular one. So that's a little bit of what our Raisin Center does. And it's a space for students to also just hang out and learn how to be leaders in the school, whether it be create their own club, whether it be attend a conference on LGBTQ+, because they want to be part of a bigger conversation with other students about that, and learn how to be advocates and teachers to their peers and teachers at a school. Those are opportunities they can take advantage of and learn more about through our Raisin Center. So
it lives and breathes, and again, because that community is also home, you get to really become very proximate with the work, not only during the class time, but when you're engaging, when you're sitting down to a meal together, when you're traveling abroad together, you're able to do that diversity in action. You've learned it, teachers and students, and then you live it. Right?
Exactly.
You live it. So I want to thank you for joining me with lunch with
My
Gina.
pleasure.
Me, Gina, today. And we have a lot that's going on over the summer at Westover. We got some more happening in the Vineyard. So we look forward to you all experiencing what Westover has to offer and hanging out with us.
Yeah.
12th and 13th in Martha's Vineyard. So there'll be more information there. Please get in touch with Tammara. Call her anytime. She is the person who has a seat at the table and is making decisions about the classrooms that you want to create, right? The classes, the graduating years that you want to create. And we have some really dynamic families to share with you. So we're excited and we're thankful, and we appreciate you being in the position that you're in our independent schools, because it matters. It matters. So thank you.
It does. And I'm excited for the work we're doing. And I also, right before we cut off, I just want to share that families of color should feel very welcomed and accepted in these communities, because the students are when they're here. And the network in these schools is incredible.
Let's talk about the networks. We can talk more about that in August.
Network. Not enough.
One of the benefits are the networks, right?
It really is. It really is. So I just don't want our families of color to be losing out on that, because the doors are wide open right now in this day and age, and I want us to come through like a floodgate.
Right, that's right. We can create some legacy at Westover.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Do that. All right, so we'll be in touch, and thank you. Have a great summer.
You too, Gina.
Talk soon, okay?
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Tammara.